Welcome to Malace TEKTalk, a brand new show aimed at informing our viewers about the latest trends within the IT staffing and business world. Make sure to like and subscribe as we will be producing new episodes on a regular basis. I'm joined today with my co-host and IT expert, Kevin Boes. Kevin, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, LJ. How about you? Glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. Happy to have you. Brand new show, brand new host. We are rocking on all cylinders. Kevin, would you mind just giving us a little bit of background about who you are and you know your experience within the industry?
Absolutely, sure. And I will not go through my resume because it's very, very long because I've been in this industry about 30, 40 years now. You know? And I'll tell you what, one thing that's constant in this industry is change.
Constant change.
Just when you think you've seen it all, a new technology or a new technological advancement hits, right? It arises and here we go again. And that's what I've loved about this industry is change. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you don't thrive on change, or if you just want to be stagnant, it's probably not the industry for you.
Right.
But in a way it provides job protection if you're constantly reskilling.
Yeah.
If you are constantly learning, you have to thrive on change. You have to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations,
right?
Because nobody can know it all. I've had the pleasure and honor of working with some of the best folks in the industry. And I tell you, it's a journey and it's been fun.
That's great. Well, now you're here. And, over the last year or so, we've been focused on building Malace Tech solutions, and that's where we're going to be providing a variety of support as far as staffing and contract workers to tech companies all over the country. But I thought you had a really good point there because, new technology is developing all the time. I mean, now we're hearing about AI and cloud computing and blockchain and what was the other one I saw over there? It was quantum computing. Quantum computing. I mean, you hear about quantum physics and you hear about all these things. It seems like they're scaling it down. Computers at one point took up an entire room, and now they're doing it under a microscope. In your mind, what are some big milestones that have really elevated the tech industry to where it is today?
I didn't prepare a bulleted list of the actual milestones.
No, right? I didn't expect you to.
If there were a bulleted list, it would be endless, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, here we are in Detroit, right? I'm a born and raised Detroiter. And obviously we all knew that we went from horse and buggy to automobiles, right? And the Industrial Revolution hit. And back in those days, things were very mechanical. Mm-hmm. And you had a lot of mechanics and mechanical things, and everything was analog. And what we've gone to is a digital world.
Right.
And it's technology that drives innovation, but it drives this world, right?
Right.
Without new technology, there's no way that we would be where we are today. In the world.
Absolutely.
It's just it wouldn't happen.
And it's integrated in everything that we have. I mean, cars, appliances, your home. I mean, your light, every single aspect, it seems, is integrating new technology. And it's almost difficult to find something that doesn't have some sort of technology.
Exactly. Everything that has technology and a chip behind it.
And with how quickly things change, it's like, how soon does that become outdated? Before they come up with some new technology.
Exactly.
And based on your experience with, the companies you've worked with, how are companies hiring new people? How are they keeping up with that change? What does the IT industry look like from an employment standpoint?
Well, to be totally blunt and honest, they're not keeping up.
Really?
Okay? I mean, it is very difficult to keep up. I'll give you a couple of stats. Like right now, the tech unemployment rate right now is only at 1.7%, much lower than the national average, which is, over 3, approaching 4.
Right?
They've projected 377,000 jobs per year annually for the next 10 years just in IT. And the interesting part, we'll talk a little bit more about it, but AI. If you were to go out and look at job postings and what's available, it dominates. It's 12% of the job market in the IT space is all centered around AI.
Wow.
We've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it's very difficult for individual companies to get the right talent, right? And because things change so much, the talent has to keep up with all of their certifications, right? They have to keep up with what is the latest and greatest. It's difficult. AI is playing a part in hiring also, as far as screening resumes and matching skill sets on the resume to what they're trying to look for.
Right.
Going through LinkedIn profiles. There's all kinds of AI type algorithms out there that are helping recruiters, helping staffing companies like ours find the right people. But I will tell you that you need AI is AI and it's data driven. You have to check that the AI is giving you the results that you expect also.
Right.
Just because Joe and Sally don't have every single buzzword and keyword on their resume sure doesn't mean that they're not a very qualified fit individual. So all of you out there who are looking for positions, make sure that your LinkedIn profile and your resume is set up such that these AI algorithms are going to not eliminate you.
Right.
Make sure you have the right words, the right skill sets, the right certifications for the job that you're looking for.
Now, as far as those keywords and certifications, for somebody to, say they're looking for a certain position at a company, is there a space or somewhere where they can hone in those keywords, hone in those certifications? Like where do you even start, I guess? As someone who's just getting into the industry and doesn't want to be, run over by this algorithm, where do I start as far as that goes?
Well, one, I'm assuming that you have a pretty good understanding of the industry itself. Okay. None of us can be up on every single buzzword.
Right.
But if you go through and you read job openings, you will start to see a trend for what they're looking for. VM certified, cloud certified, AWS certified, and there's various subcategories under that. Unfortunately, we as individuals don't have our own AI algorithm to do counts and tell us the buzzword. But unfortunately, or I would say, my personal experience would say, you got to do your homework.
Yeah, it's on you.
There's not a shortcut that I'm aware of.
That's a really good point, and I think it kind of falls in line with the industry today, because it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like a lot of companies are moving away from the whole having an IT department and having someone sitting at their office and doing more project-based, long-term contract type work, outsourcing a lot of these positions. And many times those people are actually remote. Would you say that's accurate, or what is your understanding of how the companies are shifting?
So the landscape has absolutely changed. You're exactly right, LJ. You've got in the past, everybody went to the office and you worked there 5 to 7 days a week for your 40 to 60 hours a week, whatever it was. And in this world, what you had very, very large data centers. Okay. I started my career at Pontiac Motor Division in Pontiac, Michigan. The whole 4th floor of corporate headquarters was the data center, right? You had printers bigger than the size of this room. And now it's a global world, right? And your competition, if you're looking for a job out there, it's global, okay? Because so many jobs can be done remotely.
Right.
And because of that, companies who are looking at candidates on a global basis will find the best candidate.
Yeah.
They will. There are certain positions, especially data centers still exist. The cloud, most lay people think the cloud's the cloud. Well, there's data centers behind it.
Right.
And there's networking and there's racks and there's computers and someone has to maintain those. So they're still going to data centers to maintain the shop floor, if you will.
Yep.
Even locally, I recently read an article where AWS, the cloud, right? They are requiring everyone back to the office.
We'll see how that goes. I've heard a lot of people not too happy about that one.
Not too happy. COVID, everybody got used to it.
Yep.
Companies bragged about the fact that they could do everything remotely.
Right.
And now they're kind of shifting on their employees saying, come on back.
Yeah.
I think that we will continue to see a hybrid environment in the IT world, because if you if you need to get the talent, the necessary talent, you're going to have to look remote.
I kind of relate it almost, being in Michigan, the automotive world, you've got it's 24/7 as far as building these cars and these automobiles, and you've got 3 shifts that are working all times of the day, and with countries out there, you've got Southeast Asia that's a really big part of the IT world. This is a 24/7 job itself. It's become that. You're not just maintaining a system for the day. You need maintenance on that every single day for every hour, making sure that you've got that is running well. There's no threats. There's no issues. So it's almost becoming it's similar in that sense to the manufacturing world, where it's 24/7 there. It's 24/7 here as well.
It is absolutely 24/7. And I don't know the plant floor inside and out, but obviously we know that there are different roles, different jobs, different functions along that assembly line. Right. And there are many, many, many jobs in the IT space that are 24/7, 365. It never ends.
Yep.
There is a chase the sun mentality where take a simple help desk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today now AI is helping drive all those help desks.
Right.
But how do you can't hire a staff that's going to sit there 24 hours. So you follow the sun, and your help desk gets transferred around the globe for so that you have they're working their normal business hours.
Right.
But it's supporting the entire global clock.
Wow.
Right.
Well, and with AI, it seems like everybody's got their own AI. Every company I'm seeing, they've got their own AI that they're using to support their business. Do you foresee any sort of consolidation between some of these AIs, where maybe you have a few that you can incorporate to your business, kind of like these data centers where you've got AWS, you've got a few others, but if you're gonna use these centers, you're gonna be like one of these 3 or 4 companies that are out there.
I think eventually it will be. I think we're a long way off from that.
Wild West right now, essentially.
It is wild west.
Yeah.
Right. We are in AI right now where we were right when the internet started.
Yep.
Right. I mean, there is so much more to come. And there's a couple enablers to AI. And again, it's because of technology, right? The reason that we have a few of the reasons that we have AI today is things like quantum computing, right? But we have extremely powerful computer systems today.
Yeah.
That in the past could never, ever, ever process the type of data that we are now asking these AI, machine learning, AI, ML machines to do. It didn't exist. If it did, it existed within the government or national labs.
Yeah.
That was it. It wasn't open to industry.
Right.
So the amount of data that we have today is one of the reasons that we have an AI boom, because now we have enough data that we can start to put algorithms together and start to learn things from all this data, right? And correlate all the data. And then on top of it, you have to have the compute power behind it. I don't consider myself a tech head at all, right? But to follow the industry and what is happening, and seeing the change and seeing the shift and seeing how everyday business changes because of it is fascinating.
Yeah.
And there's no way without technology that any of this ever would have happened, right? There's no way.
It's amazing. The other thing that I really wanted to bring up, because I think it's so important, is the idea and the role of cybersecurity within the industry. I've got here on my notes, it says there's an estimated 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs within the United States. How important has this become in recent years with all these advancements taking place?
I can't even put words to how important it is, right? And one of the reasons I say that is because there are new threats and new ways of breaking into our systems. Every hour of every day, there's a new way. There are so many cyber criminals out there that, I mean, what was the number you said for how many cyber jobs are open?
3.5 million unfilled cyber.
So probably double or triple that. That's how many cyber thieves there are. Okay. Much like we're talking, technology always changes. These threats constantly change.
Right.
And then you look at filling those gaps or trying to thwart the threat, if you will.
Right.
Either through hardware solutions and air gapping the data, protecting the data, backing up the data, all that, but also from a software perspective, from a network perspective. So it touches every single component of the IT infrastructure.
Yeah.
Right. That whole ecosystem is impacted. So when there's millions of jobs available, it's because you have the network experts, you have the hardware experts, you have the software experts. They're trying to get into absolutely everything and anything you can think of. These thieves are going after it.
It's incredible, and I think a lot of people, myself included, had always thought of hackers as being, this guy in a dark lit room, kind of like something from like the Matrix. But in reality, I mean, you have well-funded private and also government organizations throughout the world that are basically conducting cyber warfare against companies and individual countries as well. So we put that into perspective.
It's big business.
It really is. It really is.
It's real.
And with everything being migrated to these data centers and to the cloud, having those backups in place, having those security measures in place, if you mess up one of these data centers, get into it and extract all the data. I mean, you could be jeopardizing, millions of people, their sensitive financial information, companies, various organizations. So it just seems like it's something that you have to stay on top of at all times.
And it's very, very hard.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult because there's new ways every day.
Right.
I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but I do know the amount of time and effort. I have a pretty good idea of the time and effort that goes into it and the expense that goes into it. It's almost it's priceless. You can't put a price on what it takes to secure your data. Right.
Is there a threat of some of these technologies like AI being turned and used for nefarious activities or criminal activities? Is there a concern about that in the industry? Or is that still something that they're still trying to figure out themselves?
No, it's a concern. It's a very large concern.
I don't want to bring up Terminator or anything, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
There'll always be a concern, and there should be.
Right.
And these things are getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
Right.
And they continuously learn. As machine learning, I mean, it's as much data as you can feed into them, they can absorb and expand their understanding and grow as well within that topic.
It irks me every now and then, because you hear it on a TV or an anchor or somebody says, well, this AI, it's only as smart as the data you feed it. Well, they don't understand machine learning. There's bad data out there.
Yeah.
So how do you protect these algorithms from knowing good data from bad data?
Yes, and I think that's like the golden ticket question right there.
I don't know. I'm sure there's companies out there probably making a business out of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible thing to think about, and obviously with AI, there's so many good things like as far as medical screenings and things of that nature. That are going to be really beneficial, but it's always good to keep in mind some of those possibly negative aspects of it. I want to kind of just circle back here. We were talking about, IT jobs and candidates looking to get hired in by companies. Something that comes to mind to me is like interpersonal skills, soft skills, and those intangible skills that people bring to the table outside of those specialized skills, such as, management, leadership, the ability to work in teams. How important are those things to companies nowadays?
I think that this whole industry has become a team sport. Okay. I don't believe in the early days that it was. I think that in the early days, and that's only a few years ago, you hired an individual for a specific job,
right?
A specific role, and he or she did their job, checked the box. Well, we used to have teams of IT teams that supported customers, right? And there was a shift, and this shift was we will now hire people to do a specific job function. And when they're done, they'll pass it off to the next person to it's kind of like an assembly line.
Yeah.
Yeah. first we're going to have these people who gather the requirements, and then the requirements are going to be passed to the coding people, and then the coders are going to pass it to the hardware people. Hardware people are going to come up with an infrastructure, and they're going to pass it to the network people. And everybody just kind of checked the box, did their job.
Right.
And we lost some accountability back to the end customer, right? And the focus on the customer. I'm seeing a shift where it's starting to come back, and this long way to get to your answer on the interpersonal skills and why I said it's a team sport.
Yeah.
Because now you have to understand the impact of the job function that you're doing on the entire ecosystem. To do that, it's communication skills, it's listening skills, it's learning as you go. Get involved, understand what the end goal is for what it, you have one piece, but you need to really understand, how does my one piece contribute to the end goal, so that you understand the big picture. And when you start to understand the big picture, now you see that, okay, there's a team around this.
Right.
And it's not just working in my cubicle or at midnight from my basement, because there's impact.
Yeah. What you do, people rely on what you're producing, what you're doing, and it's codependent, if you will.
So, I mean, you don't have to have type A personality and be Mr. or Mrs. salesperson and all that. No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, though, is you can't just work in your own little box. And if you have to work outside the box and with a team, you need some of these soft skills.
Yep.
You need some of these interpersonal communication skills. And that will absolutely help you. And it'll help you for your current role and your next role.
Right.
So always be thinking about your next role.
And with those soft skills obviously translate. How about some of those more specialized skills? Once you acquire some of these skills, are you able to really transfer those, let's say from automotive to aerospace or medical to, I guess aerospace to medical, if you know what I mean? I mean, are you able to translate those skills to different industries?
Absolutely. The certifications that are out there, let's say it's AWS Cloud, right? Let's say it's VMware, which is your virtualization processes.
Yep.
Let's say it's Cisco, which is the networking type stuff. Those are infrastructure components of the IT ecosystem that support every and any type of business, right? So those skills absolutely transcend across all industry.
Right.
Are there specific ones for the auto industry, for healthcare? Yes, there are. I think that'd be more understanding compliance.
Okay. Yep.
So HIPAA compliance, government regulations. You still need the skill set to build the right technology to support it. But the more you know about that industry, obviously,
the better off you're going to be.
But I'm not aware, there could very well be, but I'm not aware of, let's say, a VMware vArchitect for healthcare certification. There might be,
yeah,
but I don't think it gets that.
Just that standard certification. That very good. I think we've had a pretty good conversation today. To kind of wrap things up here. I look at ourselves, Malace Tech Solutions. We're a service provider. We're working with individual IT professionals and clients to try and get them jobs. And I've always viewed it as, you've got a lot of small and medium-sized business that goes all the way up to these large enterprise organizations. Where else, if someone's looking to get into the IT world, where else should these people be looking and applying, and how should they be getting their name out there?
I would say there's kind of three buckets.
Okay.
And I look at each of those buckets by the amount of either end users or clients that they serve. Generally speaking, they have a single client. Okay. General Motors is self-fulfilling, right? Their IT takes care of General Motors.
Right.
Okay. Joe's shop, wherever, they take care of themselves. Right. So there's opportunity there, but it may not be as great as the federal government, as an example.
Right.
The federal government, we have all branches of government. You have all branches of military. And you have every piece of IT technology that services that particular bucket, if you will.
Right.
So the federal government is a huge
entity.
entity that needs IT professionals. Now, what you will get into there, which is a little bit different than standard business, is all of the certifications and all the clearances, right? So if you have those, great. If you don't, there's still a job for you, but there might not be as many. Then I look at the system integrators, the system outsourcers, and the cloud providers. Okay, those guys are servicing, let's say the cloud providers, they're servicing tens of thousands of customers. Your systems integrators are servicing thousands of customers. Your individual small, medium business is kind of taking care of themselves or one customer.
Right.
So if you look at it from that perspective, where do you want to spend your time is where's the greatest opportunity, right? And there's more opportunities in those larger areas.
I think it kind of goes back, Kevin, to casting a wide net, getting out in front of as many organizations, small, medium, large, government as you can. That is going to be the topic for our next podcast, the job-seeking strategies for IT professionals. So look forward to having you back. I thought we had a great conversation. This has been Malace Tech Talk. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We'll be coming out with new content on a regular basis. Thanks for joining us today.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.